couple of years ago, I made a video which got a left-leaning person upset. This is why I even remember, because the conversation was absolutely hilarious. I ended up being blocked, of course. But they basically were upset that I said you shouldn't put your pronouns on a resume. And their argument was that I just don't understand. I have fallen out of the times, that you should put your pronouns on a resume, and actually by not putting it, you are at a disadvantage because most of the companies nowadays are open-minded and they're more inclusive, and people like me are the problem, blah, blah, blah. I wish I would know if he managed to get employed or not, and if he did, whether or not he used the pronouns on the resume. But by the way, speaking of companies being good LGBT allies, I actually spoke with a person that's a policymaker at a major company. I can't disclose what company it is, but basically what they said is that the reason most companies care about like transgender issues and they have like all of these pro-LGBT movements is because there's a study which found out that employees are less likely to ask for a raise if they get involved in other types of activism. And because LGBT activism is considered popular and there's no backlash against it, this is why companies encourage this. Shocker, I know, companies care about money. When something doesn't make sense in the corporate environment, trust me, someone somewhere up actually understands why it is, and for them it does make sense. Nothing is done because of stupidity. Like, you have an army of people and experts at the top that make absolutely sure that every decision has a purpose. Now, let's talk about the pronouns in the resume. You have this lady, which is going to explain to us why she doesn't hire people with the pronouns. And I do notice something. Very beautiful lady, right? Are there woke women that look this good? No, like, legit question. I'm sure there must be. Like, it's impossible not to, but do you guys know of any? Because you notice this trend. Like, every single time you have a woman that's more conservative-leaning, she looks good. And then when you have, like, a university graduate that's very intelligent, very smart, but unfortunately a little bit harder on the eyes, huh? It's a trend. I just can't help but notice. Let's listen to her arguments.
So if I was like hiring and I saw pronouns, here's what I'm going to assume. I'm going to assume you're obviously very liberal. So I'm going to assume you're one of those people that is super far left. Hey, I'm going to assume you're not a very hard worker. You are either a female or you're a probably not straight guy. So everything in the office is going to have to cater to you, your feelings, your needs, and your emotions. So everyone around you is not going to be able to be themselves and walk on eggshells. Why would anyone want someone like you unless everyone's like you in a work environment? You're going to be the laziest person. You're going to be the most entitled, complain the most, and I think you're going to be the first to sue. So shocker that pronouns weren't helping you guys. Sorry, is there anything I missed there?
So a lot of people were enraged by what she said, but if you actually go on Reddit, where you have left-leaning people congregating, you will notice that most of them are actually saying, yeah, I go to this company and I put minimum effort. I like to take the wealth. I'm fighting against capitalism. This is how you fight against capitalism. You go there, you put the minimum effort, and you take that paycheck. This is like a line of thought in the way. There used to be another Reddit group that actually got on Fox News, and it was the mockery of the entire United States. It was, I think it was Our Work or Our Jobs. I forgot the name of it, but basically, it started with a couple of people describing how shitty their bosses were. And the first posts were actually reasonable. Like, those were legit shitty bosses. But then it transformed from that. It got co-opted by socialists. And they were basically considering that any type of employment is theft, and that you should go to your work and do the bare minimum as possible, right? And apparently the owner was like a dog walker, something. Of course, pronouns in the bio, all of that. And they go on Tucker Carlson and they make a complete ass of themselves to the point where their own community were begging them to step down. It was like, dude, you embarrassed all of us. Like, please step down. And they wouldn't. Because this is what leftists do when you give them a little bit of power. When they get a little bit of control, right? Like they get like a moderation position on a thread, like it's just like symbolic level of power, you know, but on their corner of the internet, they're the little emperor. And all of a sudden, no more equality, no more solidarity, no more comrades. It's just like, no, I am the emperor, I decree. So you do have like this aspect of laziness, right? So when this lady says, I assume that if you're a liberal, you're going to be lazy, this is what she's basing these assumptions on. Like, they don't come from the fucking ether. Oh, she's a bigot. Yeah, she is. And you have to convince her you want to get a job. You can't change her mind, right? You can't mind control other people. Read some Stoicism. Read what the ancient Greeks used to say. You can't change others. You can change yourself, though. You can not put those fucking pronouns on the resume. But if you want to, well, you're going to have to pass this lady. And most offices do think like this lady. And it's not illegal, by the way, what she's doing. Like, she's not saying that she's not going to hire you if you're gay or LGBT. All she's saying, don't put the pronouns there. The other thing is, like, she said that if you're a woman, right? So, like, she is a woman. And she is saying, okay, well, if you're a woman or... Because that tells me you're a leftist. And you're going to think like a leftist. And you're going to cause problems for my company. Because left-leaning people are like, oh, we're going to turn down capitalism and blah, blah, blah. And then she talks about different demographics. Now I want you to picture a cisgender, heteronormative, straight white man at the office. What can you possibly say that would get you in any sort of trouble? There's almost nothing. You can talk about literally anything. You can be yourself. This is what she's talking about. You can be yourself. You can say anything, do anything, crack any jokes, make any comments. You can be yourself. Meanwhile, if you're a politically correct person and you're going to the office, well, now we need inclusion. Now we need HR. Now we need to make sure that everyone feels comfortable, and let's police the jokes, and let's make sure that we don't talk about these themes, and this is what we're going to talk about, and we need to spend money on some seminars in order to get people to understand about the systemic injustices of... A lot of money wasted. And worst of all, as she points out, they're likely to sue. Now, I don't know why she's saying this. Usually when your enemy makes a mistake, don't tell them about it. So the fact that she's revealing the selection category, it's like not putting the pronouns, gets you more likely to be hired. Although, looking at the comment section and seeing how many people are raging at her rather than trying to learn a lesson, means that her video is probably not going to affect the target audience that much. But for those of you who are wondering, it's like, okay, I'm applying for a job. Do I put the pronouns or not? The answer is, if you're not asked, do not put them. Only put them if asked. And if you're asked, never put the made-up pronouns. Zir, here, she, here, you know, like those ones. Like, you can go with the classics, the he, him, she, her, they, them. Like, those are fine. But if you're going to put, like, the really fringe ones, let me put it this way. If you join a religious community and you say God bless, it's acceptable, right? In fact, like they would probably require that you say, you know, Merry Christmas and all those things, right? Because it's a religious community. But if you start throwing fringe Bible quotes at people and starts judging them, and, you know, they're going to consider you a zealot. And even amongst other Christians, they don't like zealots. Like, I remember when I was a kid and, you know, all of my family was religious to the point that they would go to church and refuse to work on Sunday if they could avoid it and that type of thing. But when they met my uncle, which was extremely religious, like extremely, you know, really deep into the ideology, they didn't like that very much. So, yeah, if you're asked for pronouns, like maybe you're applying for a social media position or something like that, you just use the classics, right? Don't go trying to be a smartass. And my advice for resumes in general, it's not about the pronouns. If it's not about your competency for that particular job, don't put it in. No one cares. You don't want to have like a wall of text. You don't want, like, the more information that you have is not the better. Unless that information is actually pertinent for the job. Let me know what you guys think. And as usual, I will see you in the comment section. Take care.